A couple in Gold Canyon have an incredibly unusual problem with their home.
They recently discovered their house is collapsing and say their insurance isn't willing to help. On your sides, Gary Harper is here. This is an expensive, unexpected problem.
If you own a home, you're expecting some weird things maybe to happen from time to time, right? This problem, though, very unusual. If your house floods or catches fire, for example, first thing is to call your insurance company, file a claim, and most cases, the insurance company will accept the claim and pay for any damages, right? But what happens if your home is caving in, collapsing? That's what's happening to this couple.
So this is one of my favorite places to be in the world, outside with the beautiful superstitions in the background.
Linda Hammond and her husband have enjoyed their Gold Canyon home and picturesque surroundings for 7 years.
I love the view. I mean, the view sold me on this house. And we would come up here and the breeze would be blowing.
But back in December, the couple started noticing issues. Water was leaking in a corner of the upstairs, and the floor suddenly sloped, actually dropping a few inches. Cracks appeared, and the flooring on the deck started to buckle.
And we called a structural engineer who said to immediately put the beams up. They said if we didn't put those beams up, it most likely, about 90% chance, would have just caved in, taking us with it.
Linda is talking about these vertical wooden beams in the middle of the garage that are literally supporting and keeping the second floor from collapsing. Engineers say this support beam over the garage is simply too small, and it's now weakening under the pressure of the home.
That beam in itself is carrying the whole load to the middle section of the house on the second floor. And if that was to let loose, it would be a catastrophic failure.
The vertical beams keeping their home from caving in are only temporary until a permanent solution is found. So Linda and her husband filed a claim with their insurance company, Farmers Insurance. After all, they say their policy specifically states that it covers a collapse.
Called the insurance company, figured no problem. I mean, you got a collapse here. They told us it's not a collapse. And that is absurd. It's a collapse.
According to Linda, Farmers Insurance told her the house actually has to collapse and fall in before they ever get involved. Until then, their claim keeps getting denied. So Linda reached out to On Your Side.
But I'm hoping by calling you guys that maybe we can get something done. Because to be honest with you, you're the first people that have ever listened to us. And for that, I'm very grateful.
On Your Side asked Farmers Insurance to look into the issue again. They did, and determined the couple's predicament is not covered. If you look at the policy, it clearly states that the collapse must be sudden and an actual and complete falling down. It goes on to say that the substantial impairment of a building structure without a complete falling down is not considered a collapse. So if the second floor had collapsed out of the blue, it likely would have been covered. But since the couple was able to catch it before a total failure, it's not covered now. That's heartbreaking for Linda, whose beloved deck with its views of the superstitions is now too dangerous to use.
It's frustrating since it's like one of my favorite places in the world is broken, you know?
Well, the insurance company says if a structural engineer brings them new information, of course, they say they'll be happy to take another look at that claim. In the meantime, the couple says they are now exploring options to cover the repairs. The repairs, you guys, around $100,000.
I'd imagine so.
One thing I didn't mention that is important, and that is above the beam, the beam that is too small, that is literally bending in, there's a stone fireplace above it. And there's also some like concrete like columns. So you can imagine the weight, that is up there, and that's causing that beam to bow like it is. If it was to cave in now, the insurance company probably still wouldn't cover it because according to the policy, the verbiage says it has to be a sudden collapse. It has to fall down, immediately, but it's not doing that. It's not a sudden collapse. They caught it. So now they're stuck with a big repair bill.
Which is what I would imagine many of us would do if we were faced with that problem. Put a Band-Aid solution in there until you could figure it out, like they did with those posts.
The good news is they did find, the weak beam before it actually did collapse. I mean, can you imagine if they were in the house just implodes? So that's one good thing out of this.
All right,
so
we'll see what happens.
We will stay on top of this like we do all of our On Your Side reports, and if anything develops, I'll let you know.
What a wild story. Gary, thank you.
Sure.